Wait till I get back and see him. Wait till I slap it. Alright, yeah, wait. Wait till I come back in the market late night, and then it's just you and I you up.
Children gonna be children. Kids will be kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I expect that from them. I expect them to.
The phones lit up first, late night whispers, shaky clips, and a flood of DMs saying the same thing. T.I. is on the phone with an OG, begging for mercy. That's the claim. That's the chatter. That's what timelines are chewing on tonight. Viewers say the spark was King Harris's mouth inside a county tier. A loud exchange that rubbed the wrong crew raw. Now, the rumor mill swears someone important wants the volume turned down permanently. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high as alleged voice notes and secondhand accounts stacked up like dominoes, each one scarier than the last. Meanwhile, the family was left divided, half praying for calm, half calling cap, while group chats swore they knew someone who was there. We're not here to certify court facts. We're here to unpack what people say they saw, what insiders claim they heard, and why the internet is convinced a father dialed every number he could to shield his son from a storm he couldn't see coming. Picture a dim parking lot, a vibrating phone, a name that still moves rooms, and a father's voice, steady but strained. He's young. Let me fix this. That's the story the streets are telling. Let's dig in. The story really began with a night that should have been quiet, but instead turned into whispers, spreading faster than wildfire. People claimed King Harris, the son of rap legend T, had run his mouth too loud in jail. It wasn't just normal bravado either. Those inside said he clashed with the wrong crew, words flying like sparks in a dark room. And what started as a heated exchange was now painted as something bigger. The whispers grew into a roar. King had crossed lines that couldn't be uncrossed. Suddenly, screenshots, voice notes, and blurry audio recordings began circulating online, each one more dramatic than the last. Fans were left stunned, wondering if the young Harris had really picked a fight he couldn't win for T. This was not the kind of headline he wanted attached to his family name. Years of building an empire, crafting respect both inside the rap game and beyond, all threatened by a single rumor about his son. Insiders claimed that the moment T heard about the situation, his voice dropped low and serious. Find out who's behind this, he allegedly told someone close, pacing like a man who had been here before. It was a reminder that for all his success, T's past was not far behind him. He had lived this life, seen how fast small disagreements could turn into lifelong scars. And the idea of his son being caught in that crossfire was unbearable. Meanwhile, social media couldn't stop talking. One clip in particular showed King yelling inside the jail common area. The audio was grainy, but you could make out phrases that sounded like taunts. Challenges thrown at people who weren't going to just laugh it off. "Wait till I get back. Then it's just you and me," he seemed to shout. Whether it was a joke, a bluff, or a real challenge didn't matter anymore. The internet treated it like gospel. Fans debated endlessly, some saying he was just being young and reckless, others warning that he didn't know the kind of fire he was playing. With what added fuel to the storm was the narrative of T himself. Once a man known for walking the razor's edge of street life, people couldn't help but compare father and son. T had been to prison, faced down heavy charges, and rebuilt his life. But now it looked like his own child was repeating the same dangerous cycle. One tweet summed it up brutally: "Ghost and Tariq in real life." T tried to save him, but King wanna crash out. The comparison stuck. Suddenly, every headline, every blog post, every podcast was framing the Harris family as a drama too big for television. Inside the family, things weren't much calmer. Sources close to the Harrises painted a picture of Tiny breaking down in tears, frustrated that her son's name was once again attached to trouble. Siblings argued over whether to speak publicly, some urging silence, others saying it was better to get ahead of the storm. But the loudest whispers were about T himself. One insider described him sitting at a long table, phone pressed to his ear, his voice unshakable as he told an old acquaintance, He's just a kid, man. Don't let this go any further. I'll handle it. To fans, it sounded like a script pulled from a crime drama. But the details were just vague enough to keep people guessing. Was T really calling in old favors, trying to negotiate peace before it turned violent? Or was it all internet exaggeration, a myth designed to make the story even juicier? Either way, the damage was done. People believed it. Screenshots of supposed text conversations between unnamed us and local Atlanta figures circulated with captions like, "T begging behind the scenes," whether real or fake. They fanned the flames. The tension escalated when more videos leaked of King himself, bragging on live about being untouchable. "They know who my pops is. I ain't worried," he said, smirking into the camera. Those who saw the clip split into two camps. Some mocked him, saying he was delusional to think a famous father could shield him from everything. Others worried that this arrogance would only make his problems worse. Fans on Instagram Live reacted in real time. Comments flying across the screen. "Bro digging his own grave," one wrote. While another added, "They gon' test that energy real soon." Behind the scenes, T was allegedly furious about the live stream. One source claimed he confronted his son over the phone, saying, "You don't understand the weight of your words. Every time you talk like that, you put yourself deeper in the hole." King, however, reportedly pushed back. "You lived your life, let me live mine," he snapped. It was a clash of generations. Father and son, both stubborn, both convinced they knew better. The argument echoed what fans had already seen play out months earlier at that infamous Falcons game. When father and son shouted at each other in public as the story spread, fans weren't the only ones reacting. Other rappers chimed in, some siding with T, others mocking the situation. One Atlanta veteran posted cryptically, "Kids these days think it's a game. They'll find out it ain't." Though he never mentioned King by name, everyone knew who he was talking about. Industry insiders whispered that T was calling in every favor he had left, trying to make sure no one inside or outside the jail took things further. Still, the fear lingered. The rumor mill said certain groups inside had already made up their minds. That King's words weren't just childish bravado, but disrespect they couldn't let slide. Fans began predicting violent outcomes, with hashtags trending that made the whole ordeal feel like a countdown. Pray for King and save Harris-filled timelines, alongside memes and parodies that made the situation feel even more surreal. It was in this climate that T supposedly made his boldest move. Reports claimed he arranged a private meeting with someone known only as Uncle D, a respected figure with influence in Atlanta's underworld. The meeting was described as tense, with T offering reassurances and promises. "He ain't built for that world," T was said to have admitted. "Don't test him. Test me instead." Fans who read the alleged transcript of that meeting couldn't believe it. Some called it desperation, others saw it as proof of how far a father would go to protect his child. Throughout all this, King seemed oblivious to the storm outside. Clips of him laughing with other inmates, tossing around jokes, and even freestyle rapping surfaced online. One line in particular went viral. "They think I'm soft 'cause my daddy rich. But I'll die for respect. Watch me prove it quick." For his supporters, it showed bravery. For critics, it was arrogance at its peak. Everyone had an opinion, and every opinion fueled the drama even further. As days turned into weeks, the question wasn't just whether King could survive the rumors. It was whether T could survive them too. His carefully built reputation as a businessman and family man was being dragged back into the mud of street politics. Brand deals, TV appearances, and music opportunities hung in the balance. Executives worried aloud. If this spirals, do we want to be attached? Suddenly, the Harris family legacy looked fragile, teetering on the edge of scandal and redemption. The streets, the media, the fans all locked in on the same narrative. A father who once lived a life, now forced to beg for his son's safety. A son determined to prove himself, even if it meant burning every bridge around him. And a family caught in the middle, watching their private pain play out in the most public way imaginable. The story was far from over, and no one knew which twist was coming next. The story deepened when whispers turned into louder claims. And those claims began shaping themselves into full-blown narratives across social media. People said T had spent nights on the phone, making call after call, trying to calm down the situation inside. His tone, insiders suggested, was not the voice of a rap mogul or reality star, but of a desperate father. He's young, he's reckless, but he doesn't deserve this. He was rumored to have told one figure. Fans were shocked at the idea of a man known for strength and swagger, now pleading behind closed doors. It painted a picture not of celebrity power, but of raw vulnerability. King, however, wasn't helping his case. From jail, clips surfaced of him snapping at guards, teasing other inmates, and boasting about his connections. "They can't touch me, man. I'm T's son," he reportedly said during one heated exchange. Those words traveled fast, echoing through the halls and out onto the internet, where every blog and gossip page latched on. Emotions ran high as people debated whether this was youthful bravado or a dangerous misstep that would push his enemies. Further, the family was left divided over how to handle it. Tiny, always the peacemaker, urged silence. She wanted the family to step out of the spotlight until things cooled down. T's older children had their own opinions. Some argued that King needed tough love, that he had to face the consequences of his choices. Others worried that letting him face it alone was a risk too big to take. Behind the closed doors of the Harris household, arguments spilled over. One insider claimed that at one point, voices rose so high that neighbors could hear T shouting, "I'm not about to bury my son. Not like this." Outside those walls, the rumor mill was in overdrive. Blogs posted alleged transcripts of conversations between unnamed jail sources claiming gangs. Inside were plotting against King. He disrespected the wrong ones. One line read, "Whether these transcripts were real or manufactured didn't matter." They added weight to the perception that King was in real danger. Hashtags like Pray for King and Protect Us surged again, while others mocked the situation with memes showing T frantically dialing old contacts. Industry figures began weighing in, adding another layer of drama. A veteran rapper from Atlanta posted a cryptic message, "Money don't buy respect, and names don't buy peace." Though no names were mentioned, everyone assumed the shot was aimed at King. Other artists chimed in, some siding with T, others mocking King's behavior. Fans speculated about who might step in and who might sit back, watching the Harris family unravel in real time, as if the chaos wasn't enough. Reports emerged of T showing up at a local diner late one night, meeting with a man described only as a respected elder. Witnesses claimed the meeting was tense, filled with hushed voices and serious expressions. One onlooker said T's face looked heavier than they had ever seen it, like a man carrying the weight of his whole family on his shoulders. He didn't order food, just coffee, and he kept repeating, "He's my boy, he's my blood," the witness recounted. Fans latched onto this story, turning it into another symbol of a father's desperation. Meanwhile, King himself continued to fuel the fire. According to jailhouse chatter, he had been caught freestyling to a small crowd inside, turning his situation into rhymes that mocked his critics. "They think I'm weak 'cause I'm young and rich, but I'll swing first and they'll call it a glitch," he reportedly rapped. The verse spread outside the walls, adding to his growing legend as someone unafraid to stand tall. But critics saw it as arrogance, proof that he wasn't taking the danger seriously. "He's writing checks with his mouth that his daddy can't cash," one fan tweeted. A line that got thousands of retweets. The contrast between father and son grew sharper by the day. T, a man who had built an empire by clawing his way out of street life, now begged for peace, while his son leaned harder into chaos. It was a clash not just of personalities, but of philosophies. T wanted survival. King wanted respect. And the gap between them widened every time another clip or rumor surfaced, as the tension escalated. Fans began comparing the Harris family saga to classic TV dramas. Memes flooded in, labeling T as Ghost from Power and King as Tariq. The son who defies his father's warnings only to drag them both deeper into danger. Podcasts dissected every detail. YouTube channels broke down timelines. And every twist became content for a hungry audience. The family's pain had become entertainment. And the world was watching with popcorn in hand, behind the scenes. Though there were signs of breaking points. Insiders whispered that Tiny threatened to take drastic measures if things didn't calm down. Reportedly telling T, "If you can't control him, I will." Some suggested she was considering pulling strings of her own, reaching out to old friends in the industry to shift the narrative back toward King's music career. Others said she wanted to move King out of Atlanta entirely once he was released, sending him to a quieter place to reset. But moving him was easier said than done. King's defiance ran deep. He wanted to prove himself in the city where his father built his empire. For him, leaving would mean surrender, and surrender was something he couldn't stomach. "I'm not running," he allegedly told a friend on a recorded call. "This is my city too." That stubbornness, while admirable to some, only worried those who loved him. Because every day the rumors grew darker. And every day, T seemed closer to running out of options. The Harris family story had become a storm with no clear ending. And as the internet debated whether T could save his son, the streets whispered another chilling question. What if it was already too late? The storm surrounding King Harris only grew louder. And what had started as whispers now became the kind of saga that dominated every timeline and dinner table discussion. People claimed that the threats inside the jail weren't just talk anymore, that groups with real power had begun moving in silence. Watching King, waiting for the right moment. Fans were horrified as posts circulated online, claiming someone had put a green light on him. Screenshots of alleged messages bounced from one group chat to another, fueling panic. Emotions ran high, and the Harris family name was once again at the center of a whirlwind they couldn't control. T, meanwhile, was said to be unraveling under the pressure. Sources close described him as restless, barely sleeping, pacing rooms at 3 in the morning, replaying phone conversations in his head. Every decision feels like it could save him or bury him, one insider revealed. The mogul who once projected confidence in front of cameras now sounded like a father stripped bare. His voice trembling with urgency as he begged old allies to intervene. "Don't let this be how my son's story ends." He was rumored to have said in one particularly emotional plea. The internet ate it up. Some fans sympathized, saying this was a rare glimpse into the softer side of T. The father who loved his son more than fame or money. Others mocked him, painting him as a man who had once glorified the streets, but now couldn't stomach them when the consequences touched home. Memes showed T with captions like "From King of the South to King of the Begging," the cruelty only. Deep in the pain for those close to the family, who were watching the saga unfold in real time, inside jail. The atmosphere reportedly grew more tense for King. While some inmates respected him for standing tall, others saw him as a target. A name that could bring attention or clout if they crossed him. Rumors said he was jumped one night in the common area, though no footage ever surfaced. Whether it happened or not, the claims spread across social media like wildfire. King Harris got touched. People tweeted with hashtags that trended for hours. The family was left divided, some rushing to deny it, others urging silence, but the damage was already done. Perception was reality. What made the situation even more dramatic was King's own response. According to reports, he brushed off the talk with arrogance, telling fellow inmates, "I ain't worried about rumors. I'm worried about respect." Fans who heard about this line were split. Against some admired his boldness. Others saw it as reckless defiance that would only escalate the situation. Meanwhile, T's attempts at damage control stretched beyond street politics. Industry insiders whispered that he had canceled meetings, dropped out of appearances, and redirected his energy toward behind-the-scenes negotiations. One music executive claimed T was willing to sacrifice millions in business deals just to secure peace for his son. He said he'd give it all up if it meant keeping King safe, the executive alleged. It was the kind of declaration that only added fuel to the fire, making fans see the story not just as entertainment, but as a tragedy unfolding. Tiny, too, played her role in the drama. Sources described her as the emotional anchor of the family, crying during private conversations but holding herself together in public. She reportedly told a close friend, "I feel like I'm losing both of them. T to the stress and King to his pride." Her words echoed across blogs and gossip pages, painted as a mother's cry in the middle of chaos. Fans reacted with sympathy, calling her the true victim in a situation spiraling out of control. But the biggest twist came when a supposed recording leaked of T talking directly to someone inside. The audio was muffled, grainy, but the voice sounded eerily like him. "He's just a boy. Don't make him pay a man's price," the voice pleaded. Though no one could verify the recording, it spread like wildfire, framed as proof that T had indeed begged gang figures for mercy. Emotions ran high again, with debates breaking out on whether this was strength or weakness. Was he a coward for asking, or a father for doing whatever it took to protect his child? King's reaction to the alleged recording added yet another layer. According to whispers, he was furious. "I don't need nobody begging for me," he allegedly shouted during a heated phone call with his father. Those words hurt more than any outside attack. T was left crushed, feeling like his son not only rejected his protection but resented it. The clash between them reached a boiling point, echoing through the family like thunder. Fans compared the situation to a Greek tragedy, a father and son trapped in a cycle of pride, love, and defiance. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to analyzing their dynamic, some siding with T, others defending King's desire to stand on his own. YouTube creators dramatized the leaked audio, turning it into cinematic reenactments that drew millions of views. The spectacle grew bigger than the story itself, and yet the core remained a simple, painful truth. A father and son could not find common ground. Even as danger closed in as days passed, the rumors only multiplied. Some claimed King was being moved to protect him. Others said rival groups were waiting until his release to settle the score. Fans didn't know what to believe, but the uncertainty kept them glued to every update, every whisper, every shaky clip that appeared online. It was reality TV without cameras, a drama unfolding in real life. And everyone knew that the next twist could either save or shatter the Harris family name forever. The tension that had ripped the Harris family seemed to reach its breaking point as new waves of rumors surfaced. This time, the talk wasn't just about King's mouth inside the jail or T's late-night phone calls. The whispers claimed meetings were happening in back rooms, with powerful figures deciding whether King Harris would be spared or silenced. Fans were horrified as posts declared, "The decision's already been made." Screenshots and voice notes circulated again, showing supposed insiders claiming T had offered money, favors, even future connections just to keep his son safe. Emotions ran high, and every new piece of gossip made the story feel like it was teetering on the edge of tragedy. For T, the weight was unbearable. Insiders described him as a man torn apart, his voice cracking in conversations as he repeated the same line. "I can't lose my boy like this." People close to the family said he was willing to risk his entire reputation, even dig into past connections he had spent years burying. "He's calling people he swore he'd never call again," one source whispered. That's how desperate he is. The mogul who once held Atlanta, the palm of his hand, was now portrayed as a father on his knees, scrambling for a lifeline. Meanwhile, King himself refused to step back. Reports suggested he had gotten into another heated exchange, this time telling inmates, "I don't care who's on the phone. I'll handle my own business." Fans who heard about this line were stunned. Some saw it as bravery, others as a death wish. The family was left divided again. Tiny begged him to keep quiet, reportedly crying during one call, saying, "Please, baby, you don't understand how close this is." But King only doubled down. "I'm not about to hide behind nobody," he allegedly told her. The internet turned their feud into a spectacle. Podcasts compared it to classic father-son rivalries. Blogs dissected every quote, and Twitter filled with threads speculating about whether T's efforts had already failed. One viral post read, "This ain't just about King. This is about T's whole legacy. If the streets don't respect him now, the empire crumbles." The comment section lit up, with fans debating if T was still the king of the South or just another father watching his son slip. Away then came the twist that nobody saw coming. Late one night, a blurry video appeared online. It allegedly showed T leaving a small club flanked by two men, his face hidden under a hoodie. The caption read, "Meeting confirmed." While nothing in the clip actually proved the rumors true, fans latched onto it instantly. YOUTUBE channels ran with headlines like "T spotted begging in person" and Instagram. Pages reposted it until it dominated timelines. For the public, the image of T in the shadows was proof enough. The story had become larger than fact. It was myth, entertainment, and tragedy rolled into one dot behind the curtain, though the family's emotions were raw. Insiders claim T and King had their most explosive argument yet during a monitored phone call. T allegedly shouted, "You think you know what respect is, but you don't. You're gambling with your life." King fired back, "You did the same when you were my age. Let me live mine." Those words, sharp as knives, cut deep. It was the clash everyone had been waiting for. And when whispers of the exchange leaked, fans compared it to a scripted scene out of a drama series. Tiny, caught between them, reportedly broke down, telling both father and son, "You're gonna destroy each other if you don't stop." Her heartbreak became another headline. With blogs calling her the true victim of the Harris War, fans were sympathetic, flooding her social media with messages of support, while others speculated whether she could be the one to finally pull them back from the edge. As the days passed, the storm showed no signs of calming. The rumors grew, even wilder claims that King was about to be moved out of Atlanta, that T had mortgaged parts of his empire to pay off debts, even that King's music career was being used as a bargaining chip to secure his freedom. None of it could be verified, but every claim kept the internet hooked. Through it all, the father-son divide remained the most gripping part of the story. Fans saw two men bound by blood, but split by pride, each convinced they knew best, neither willing to bend. T wanted peace, King wanted respect. And the gap between those desires grew into a chasm. By the time the saga reached its peak, one thing was clear: the Harris family was no longer just living their lives, they were living a public drama. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. Their private pain turned into a stage for the world to watch. And while the internet argued about whether T's begging had saved or doomed his son, the truth was far more complicated. In the end, it wasn't about gangs or jail cells. It was about love, pride, and the cost of legacy. And as the world waited for the next twist, the question that lingered over everything was simple and haunting. Would King Harris survive the storm? Or had the damage already been done? And that's where we leave the story for now, with more questions than answers. Was T really out here calling in every favor he ever owed? Or was this just the internet turning whispers into wildfire? Did King Harris truly stand his ground inside? Or was it reckless pride that kept him talking when silence might have saved him? Fans are split, emotions are high, and the family is still caught in the middle of a storm they never asked for but can't escape. What's clear is this: the drama around T and his son has become bigger than one argument, one jail rumor, or even one family. It's a story about fathers and sons, about pride and protection, about the heavy weight of legacy when the whole world is watching. And while the internet keeps pushing for the next headline, the reality is that these are people hurt, stubborn, and fighting to figure out how to hold on to each other before it all slips away. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think T's rumored begging shows weakness, or does it prove he's willing to do whatever it takes to protect his child? Is King Harris just a young man making mistakes? Or is he headed down a road too dangerous to turn back from? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we're reading every single one. Make sure you hit that like button if you were shocked by this story. Subscribe so you never miss the next twist in the Harris family drama. And share this video with your friends to keep the conversation going. Because if this saga has shown us anything, it's that the next headline might be even wilder than the last. Even wilder than the last.